Hello, everybody. Pastor Randy here. Welcome to Making It Simple. It's a beautiful Monday. Hope your week is off to a great start. Hope you had a great weekend. And so looking forward to being with you today for a short lesson as we're making this transition out of kindness. We got one more lesson tomorrow. But we've been talking about the three kind of dynamics of kindness that I feel like are pivotal in understanding. So we looked at good disposition last week. Now we would think, okay, that's our overall, determination of things. But I want to add on to that by looking at a good attitude. Now we want to think, okay, that's the same thing. No, our standing position on everything is one thing, but our attitude is what makes us approachable. What's our viewpoint? How do we look at life? This is something that is seen. Again, we're looking at the commonality of the fruit of the Spirit in that it is visible. And that's really important that we understand that, because everything from the very, very beginning, from love to joy to peace, and also those are visible qualities that show in our life. Well, certainly goodness is another one. We think sometimes of the statement, am I a good person? Or maybe a lot of people say, well, I am a good person. But what is that based on? Okay, what is that based on? Oftentimes that is only based on an external work. In other words, I pay my taxes and I call my grandmother. But what about what's in here? What about what's inside? God knows our heart. Okay? I know a lot of people that present a good facade, for our big word for the day. Okay? They write about themselves and they're so great. But let me tell you something. When somebody has to continually tell you how great they are or how accomplished they are, it's generally a lie. Here we understand that goodness is something that is seen. Okay, and in particular, a good attitude is very noticeable. It just is. We can see someone's demeanor and their attitude and how they approach things, and if they are approachable. This goes back to allowing the Spirit of God to work through our life to produce the fruit of the Spirit. Do we see all those things tie together, friends? It is very, very obvious whether you are a friendly person or not, whether you're approachable or not. It just is. And so that's the question that we have to look. Am I recognized as that? Am I a friendly person, or is it questionable? Or do others see you as someone they'd rather not be around, avoidable, maybe untrustworthy or whatever? What is our motto? It always goes back to Jesus. 1 Peter tells us that Jesus was our greatest example. When we look at the broadness of that phrase, greatest example, that covers every spectrum of life, from how we love to how we treat each other, to how we worship, to how we revere the Father. It's all right there in one example. That is why Jesus could give us the singular directive, follow me. We see this continual unraveling right now of all the different things that are going on in the world, whether it's political, whether it's in the faith world, it's all over the place. Okay? And oftentimes what we find is the central, the catalyst, if you will, of everything that is the common point that is causing it to unravel is people are following something else. They're following a system. They're following a religion. They're following a political system. They're following an ideology or what. There are all these different things that in general do not point one to a better place. They point one to a better maybe. Maybe is as uncertain as the weather. Okay? We don't know which way the wind's going to blow from one minute to the next. But we can always, 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 always count on Jesus, because he is continual and he is never changing, because God says, I do not change. Jesus was friendly. In other words, he was approachable. People came and talked to him all the time. Did he get tired? Did he have human moments? Certainly, we read that. But regardless of the stress of the situation or the anxiety of the moment that it could create, he was always willing to listen. He was always willing to help. Even if it was a frustrating moment of, do you really not get this? But that was out of, how many times have I had to tell you, and your unwillingness to hear. That is why oftentimes what he would say would be coupled with, if you got an ear to hear, listen. Okay, Jesus was friendly, and he was quick to befriend those in need. He was known, Scripture says, as a friend of sinners. Now that upset the religious leaders. But when he explained, this is why I came, to seek and to save that which is lost. Okay, so we can be grateful for that he is friendly, that he is approachable, that he is a directional, he is our example that allows us to be better than who we are. He was always reaching out to those that are hurting. And that is something that is so important to me today. We see brokenness at levels that maybe we've never seen, okay? And certainly time has been around for a long time. People have been around for a long time, and so we don't know everything. But certainly in our generation and through the history that we can read and can be comparative to, brokenness right now is at an all-time high. And the enemy is playing into that by continuing to cause people to believe you can't be fixed, but that's a lie. Jesus is the fixer. He is the answer, always has been, always will be. And he was always looking and reaching out to those who were hurting. We go back to my continual example of the woman at the well. He said, I must go through Samaria. What was he saying there? There's somebody there that needs what I'm offering. A friend is someone who cares. A friend is someone, and this is important, a friend is someone who knows all about you and is still your friend anyhow. How many of those do we really, really have in this life? That number is very small, okay? Even on platforms like this, we may have thousands of friends, okay? And I don't say that in a negative way, but we generally don't know everybody. I mean, I find myself in that situation sometimes. You know, you'll see the thing pop up that it's so-and-so's birthday, and you have to go and look at who is that? I don't even know them at all. And you got to go look and even make sure that it's even on. A friend is someone that you can confide in, and you don't have to worry about where they're going with it. A friend is someone you can share your heart with. A friend is someone who will come and talk to you. A friend gives with no expectation of receiving. This quality, and I believe this, and this quality is only possible when we allow the Spirit of God to work in our lives and be evident, be seen, that we can love, that we have joy, that we have peace, that we have patience, that we have kindness, and that we have the quality of goodness. So here's the question. How's your attitude? How is your attitude? I realize that in today's world, that can really be dented, if you will, bruised, because of the circumstances around us. But if we're allowing the Spirit of God to work in our lives, then we see the circumstances for what they are. And we realize Scripture told us they're coming. That this great time of despair and the falling away and all these other things, that it was on the way. Because Jesus told us that it was coming. He said, in this world you shall have tribulations, headaches, hard times, whatever. So when we understand that he's told us that, that is a preparation statement. If you know something is coming, you prepare for it. Okay? You do the best to be ready. So here's the thing when we look at attitude. Do you look for the best in others? I know that sometimes is hard because sometimes we see people for what they are, and sometimes people are very shallow. Sometimes people are just flat out phony. I know some of those too. And make up a lot of things, do a lot of things. But do we only focus on that, or do we see the value like God does of a soul? We've talked about that in the lessons, that I need to pray for that person. I may not care for them. I may not like what they do or what they stand for, but I still need to pray for them that they'll get saved. And that's not an arrogant statement that I am and you're not, but rather clearly by the way that you're living, there's something missing, because that quality that Jesus brings to our life is not there. And that's not a critical statement. That's an observational statement. That is why we look at the visibility of the fruit of the Spirit. Is it there? What is my attitude? What do I look for? Do I look for something good? Or do I only look for the faults and the shortcomings? Do I always complain about everything? Or do I try to find good in something? Scripture says find good in all things. Some things doesn't appear to be good, but while they may be a difficult circumstances, are they a learning moment? It all goes back to our attitude. Do we see why that's important? Do we need a better one in life? Do we need a better one at home? Do we need a better one at work? What are we looking for? And who are we looking to? Lord willing, we'll be right back here tomorrow for a little more Making It Simple as we wrap up kindness and move into a very, very important section on faith. God bless you, friends. I'll see you tomorrow.